Hello YouTube. So I've got an interesting pack here. Let me explain this real quick. So essentially what I've got here is this is 3 sets of 4 cells each. So this comes out to 16S right here, and then right here is another 16S, and right here is another 16S. With LiPo, it's not such a great idea to run multiple packs on the same BMS, so as a result I've got this broken up into 3 packs, each one with its own BMS, and obviously I've got 2 there and 1 down there, 3 different kinds of BMS, and I will get that straightened out after a while, but for this demonstration it doesn't matter. So this video is about how to connect up a BMS via the balance leads on LiPo packs and how to disconnect it again. So I'm going to ignore those 2, and as you can see they're both connected into here. All my positive leads are all connected in together. So there's my positive connection going to my multimeter, and I'm going to focus on this BMS down here. So let me set my camera down. So we can see what I'm doing. Alright. So anyway, right now this BMS is hooked up, and let me connect up the negative lead here. Turn on my meter, and you can see I'm displaying 65.3 volts. That is going through that BMS right there. And here's my negative lead going to its P- connector. Come on, camera, stand up. There we go. Let me pull that off. So pull that away. Okay. So the point of this video is to show you how to connect and disconnect a BMS to a pack. And it wouldn't matter if this was 20S or 5000S, it would work exactly the same way. I'm just showing you on this one because it's something I have readily available. So anyway, on the BMS I have 2 connectors here. This is the high-end connector. So that red wire right there is the positive end of the battery pack, and that's the low-end connector, and this black wire is the negative end of the battery pack. In other words, equivalent to this negative lead off the pack. And this one here is equivalent to the main power lead off the battery pack, the positive side. So if I'm going to disconnect from the BMS, I want to take the high side connector off first, which I have labeled B. Disconnect that one, and then disconnect A, next lower one, and then disconnect the negative end of the battery pack. So that's that. Now the BMS is completely disconnected, and it didn't blow up or anything. So now I'm going to do it the other way. So I'm going to disconnect all these balance leads. Let me tilt my camera up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Since it's not hooked up to anything, I don't care so much about order, but still, nevertheless, I do everything the same way. So my balance leads are labeled 1 through 4, and I'm going to hook everything up in order according to those numbers. And of course, all of the BMS connections, like that one says 4 on it, there's a 3, 2, and a 1, just like there is on the balance leads coming off the batteries. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the negative end. In other words, battery minus into B minus on the BMS. And I'm going to plug in, right now since everything is all unplugged, I'm just going to plug in A into the balance lead and B into its balance lead. And that leaves me, let me get these all entangled here. There we go. So that leaves me with my 4 balance leads coming off the BMS. So I want to start with number 1, in other words the negative most end of the pack, and plug that into 1 on the balance cable. So that's plugged in, and then 2 to 2, and 3 off the battery pack to number 3 on the BMS, and number 4 to number 4. And now I am completely plugged in, and I'm going to hook up my multimeter again. So there's that plugged into P- off the pack. Let's go run the meter. 65.3 volts. Looks good. I can do this all day long and not damage anything. But if I were to do something stupid, like say disconnect the B- lead, or disconnect these out of order, or disconnect these two balance connectors on here in the wrong order, in other words, A first, then B, then there's a chance of blowing things up and damaging the BMS. You probably won't hurt the battery pack, but it's possible that you will balance these JST, or you'll damage these JST connectors. It's only good for about like 1.2, 1.3 amps. So anyway, always connect things up in order from lowest to highest. So again, that is your lowest, and number 4, or B in my case, those are your two highest connectors. So this is the positive end of the battery pack, that red wire right there, and that red wire right there, and that is the negative end of the battery pack right there, that black wire, or in this number 1 connector, this black wire. And I could put my meter from that black wire to this red wire, and you would see the voltage of the entire pack across them, or do the same thing from here to here, and you'd see the exact same thing. So that would be proof positive that I'm saying what I'm saying is true, but nevertheless, just do it in the correct order. You always want to start when you're disconnecting from the highest connector down to the lowest connector, or when you're connecting from your battery minus connector up through the positive, up from the lowest, most negative connector up to the most positive connector. So this is the most positive one, 1 is the most negative one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and disconnect 4, 3, 2, 1. Anyway, that's it.